All right, we'll call over the 1,658th meeting of the Board of Trustees. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi? Mr. Wabi, are you still present? All right, we'll come back to him. Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Wabi? But we know he was present. We still have a quorum.
Okay, we'll proceed forward then. Do not have a closed session tonight. Do I have a motion to approve the journal of preceding meeting?
So move.
All right, thank you. I have no comments. We'll move on to the report of the board committees. Trustee Watson, can you read the audit committee report, please?
Audit Committee, 3rd, 2002. Board. Audit Committee, 7:30. Evans. Wilson. Trustee Wabi. Attending online. Chairperson Watson called roll and had no introductory comment. Minutes of the April 5th audit committee meeting were approved. Next, internal audit presented a report for audit engagement that consisted of a review of the district's business continuity and disaster recovery program. The scope included a review of the two programs and included a review of the systems recovery exercise performed by IT personnel during the week of February 28. The goal of the exercise performed by the IT was to recover district systems and measures and evaluate recovery time. Engagement received a satisfactory or clean opinion. 2 opportunities for improvement were presented and discussed with the committee. The first item focused on the recovery exercise and the testing performed on the recovered systems. The second item focused on the review and update of the emergency operations plan document. During the presentation, questions were addressed by internal audit as they were received from the committee. Next, staff presented the results of the RFP process for procuring internal audit services for the district. A 3-member evaluation team was convened to review and evaluate the proposals received. The RFP was sent to 55 firms. A total of 7 qualified proposals were received in response. The recommendation of the evaluation team was to award the contract to Armanino LLP. The introduction of the contract is proposed in ordinance number 15927, item 57 on tonight's agenda. The next audit committee is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, May the 31st, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 8 a.m. This concludes the audit committee report.
Thank you. Trustee Nikozison, can you read the program management committee report, please?
I sure can. The Program Management Committee met on May 3rd, 2022 at 8:01 a.m. The meeting was attended by trustees Nikozison, Evans, Wilson, Fair, and Watson, with Wabi online. Myself, Chairperson Nikozison, called a roll and had no further comments. The minutes of the April 5th, 2022 Program Management Committee Management meeting were approved. The agenda items to be introduced tonight were presented and discussed, including a detailed discussion regarding the following items. Ordinance numbers 15893 through 15895. Staff provided details of 3 CSO volume reduction green infrastructure grants being awarded to reduce combined sewer overflows to the Mississippi River per the CSO long-term control plan and consent decree. Staff provided details of the grants being awarded to HGS LLC Preservation Square 123 Landlord LLC and Good Samaritan Missionary Baptist Church for various volume reducing improvements. Ordinance number 15896, Abyssal Point Wastewater Treatment Facility Trickling Filter Media Replacement. Staff discussed this planned supplemental appropriation to an existing project being constructed by Goodwin Brothers Construction Company. Staff is requesting the final appropriation of $11 million to fund the remaining project. Staff briefed the committee on cost escalation encountered on this project and ultimate reduction in the overall scope of the project. There was discussion between staff and the committee on the cost of escalation and plans for the unfinished portion of the project. Ordinance number 15898, Lower Merrimack Wastewater Treatment Facility Expansion. Staff briefed the committee on details of this construction project being awarded to Blocker Construction. The expansion includes numerous rehabilitation and replacement projects within the plant being coordinated with the expansion. The expansion is necessary to accommodate future flows from the Fenton wastewater treatment plant scheduled for elimination. Staff discussed language within the proposed contract to address price escalation and supply chain issues being experienced in the construction industry. Staff presented resolution numbers 3749 and 3750, which recommend to the Board of Trustees that sections of district real estate property located at or near 1625 and 1627 Delridge Court, St. Louis, Missouri 63136 are no longer necessary or useful in the district's operation and therefore should be declared as surplus property. The properties were utilized as part of a concrete channel repair project at that location. There is interest in the properties, including the local municipality. Next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for May 31st, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at 8:33 a.m. This concludes the Program Management Board comments report.
Thank you. Trustee Fair, can you read the report of the Finance Committee, please?
Certainly. The Finance Committee met on May 3rd, 2022 at 8:36 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Wilson, Evans, myself, Trustee Watson, Nicozison, and Trustee Wabi online. I called roll and had no further comments. The minutes of the April 5th, 2022 Finance Committee meeting were approved. The agenda items to be introduced tonight were presented and discussed, including a detailed discussion regarding the following items. Introduction of proposed ordinance number 15904. This ordinance authorizes the district to expend funds during fiscal year 2023 for wastewater and stormwater operations, as well as debt service payments. The requested appropriations total $404.3 million. Requests for appropriations relating to the district's capital program will be brought to the board throughout the year as funding is needed for the projects. Introduction of proposed ordinance number 15905. This ordinance approves the tax rates to be applied to customers' real and personal property assessments within the corporate limits of the city of St. Louis County, and various subdistricts to produce revenues required for operation and infrastructure projects relating to the district's stormwater program. Introduction and adoption of proposed ordinance number 15906. This ordinance authorizes and directs the issuance, sale, and delivery of the Series 2022B wastewater system improvement and refunding bonds within specified parameters. The bond issuance is expected to be approximately $100 million in new wastewater system improvement bonds and approximately $10 million of bonds to refund outstanding Series 2012A and Series 2012B bonds. Introduction of proposed ordinance number 15907. This ordinance authorizes the district to acquire professional services with Raftellus Financial Consultants, Inc. for rate modeling support, rate proposal preparation, and expert testimony for the rate commission proceedings, as well as preparation of feasibility studies as needed for the issuance of district bonds. Introduction of proposed ordinance number 15929. This ordinance authorizes the district to enter into a contract with Gilmore & Bell PC to serve as bond counsel for the district's debt transactions covering a period of either 5 years or the next bond authorization as approved by the electorate. Gilmore & Bell has selected the firm of White Coleman & Associates, LLC, to serve as co-bond counsel. Introduction of proposed ordinance number 15930. This ordinance authorizes the district to enter into a contract with Armstrong Teasdale to serve as bond disclosure counsel for the district's debt transactions covering a period of either 5 years or the next bond authorization as approved by the electorate. Other items discussed during the committee meeting included the following. Secretary Treasurer Tim Snoke reviewed the district's operating fund portfolio as of April 29, 2022, and indicated that it complies with the district's investment policy. Director of Finance Marion Gee updated the board on the financial status of the district as of March 31st, 2022. Marion also reviewed the Adjustment Review Committee report as required by the district's wastewater ordinance and discussed changes to the fiscal year 23 preliminary budget. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at 9:15 a.m. This concludes the Finance Committee Board Comments Report.
Thank you. Trustee Wilson, can you read the Stakeholder Relations Committee report, please?
Yes, I can. Stakeholder Relations Committee Meeting Board Comments Report. The Stakeholder Relations Committee met on May 3rd, 2022 at 9:18 a.m. The meeting was attended by Chairperson Wilson, Trustees Evans, Fair, Nicholson, and Watson, and via Microsoft Teams, Trustee Wabi. Chairperson Wilson called roll and had no further comments. The minutes of the April 5th, 2022 Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting were approved. The annual Information Systems Overview and agenda items to be introduced tonight were presented. Information Technology, Annual Information Security Overview. The first agenda item was a presentation by Jenny Kinstra, Assistant IT Director, regarding MSD's Information Security Update. Jenny reviewed MSD's security systems as they relate to cybersecurity, security rating, and disaster recovery planning. She illustrated that MSD has plans in place as alerted to by the U.S. EPA and Water Information and Sharing and Analyst Center, Water SAC. The MSD has been implementing recommended actions of both agencies since 2020. Jenny also detailed MSD's security rating as compared to its peers and noted the district maintains an advanced rating as analyzed by the third-party agency BitSite. Lastly, Jenny gave an update on MSD's disaster recovery project, planning stages, and status. The project was added to the Strategic Business Operating Plan in 2018, and project steps over the past 5 years were illustrated. There's no board action required at this time. Ordinances numbers 15908 through 15926. The next item was a discussion by Tracy Coleman regarding ordinances for the district's risk and liability insurance coverage program. The various plans are property and boiler and machinery insurance coverage, excess flood and earth movement insurance coverage, combined liability insurance program, auto liability insurance program, public official excess liability, excess, the umbrella liability program first layer, excess umbrella liability program second layer, excess umbrella liability program third layer, cyber liability insurance program, the owner's pollution protection insurance program, contractor's equipment inland marine insurance program, commercial crime insurance coverage, judiciary liability insurance coverage first layer, judiciary liability insurance coverage second layer, excess workman's compensation insurance coverage, blocked main and overcharged line backup insurance, underground storage tank insurance coverage, national flood insurance program, major facility pollution liability insurance coverage. These ordinances will provide financial protection from catastrophic losses and damages caused by policy indicated events and claims for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. There are items number 38 through 56 on tonight's agenda. At approximately 10 a.m., Chairperson Wilson requested a motion to move into closed session to discuss leasing, purchase of, or sale of real estate under Section 610, paragraph 21, subparagraph 2. At approximately 10:06 a.m., Chairperson Wilson requested a motion to end closed session and return to open session, and all trustees concurred. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for May 31st, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at 10:07 a.m. This concludes the Stakeholder Relations Committee Board's comment report.
Thank you. Do we have a report of the Executive Director?
No report, sir.
Any comments from the public?
There are none.
Submission of public hearing reports?
None?
Communications?
None.
All right, on to the consent agenda.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight's consent agenda is items 11 through 22. Is there any board member who would like to pull an item for a separate vote? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi? Mr. Wabi, are you on?
Aye.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Nicholasison?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
All right, that takes us to new business. We'll start with item 23, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15893, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with HGS LLC for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Ameren GSI retrofit project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 24, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15894, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with Preservation Square 123 Landlord LLC for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction, the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Preservation Square Phase 2B project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 25, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15895, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with Good Samaritan Missionary Baptist Church for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Good Samaritan Missionary Baptist Church project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 26, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15896, a supplemental appropriation of $11 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for wastewater treatment plant construction and the Abyssal Point Wastewater Treatment Facility Trickling Filter Media Replacement Project in the city of St. Louis, authorizing the district to appropriate additional funds to a contract with Goodwin Brothers Construction. For a motion for introduction.
Move.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 27, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15897, an appropriation of $3 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund for reimbursement for sanitary sewer construction in the Hampton Creek Sanitary Relief Phase IB project in the city of Brentwood and authorizing the district to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Brentwood. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 28, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15898, an appropriation of $57.7 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for water treatment plant construction, the Lower Merrimack Wastewater Treatment Facility Expansion Phase 2 project in the unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Blocker Construction Company. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 29, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15899, an appropriation of $4 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for sanitary sewer construction in the MCO2 Watson to Edgar Road Sanitary Relief Project in the cities of Webster Groves and Shrewsbury and unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Fred M. Luth and Sons. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
So move.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 30, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15900, an appropriation of $4 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for sanitary sewer construction and price to Pioneer Sanitary Relief project in the cities of Olivet and Overland and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Bates Utility Company. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
yes,
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 31, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15901, an appropriation of $350,000 from the Operation Maintenance Construction and Improvement, or OMCI Fund of Graveway Creek, to be used for channel stabilization in the Rico Avenue Bank Stabilization Project in the city of Crestwood, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Gershenson Construction. Your motion for introduction.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
yes,
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 32, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15902, a supplemental appropriation of $1 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for engineering during construction phase services in the Lower Merrimack Wastewater Treatment Facility Expansion Phase 2 project in unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to amend a contract with HDR Engineering. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
yes,
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 33, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15903, a supplemental appropriation of $2 million from the Sanitary Replacement Fund to be used for construction management services in the Lower Merrimack Wastewater Treatment Facility Expansion Phase 2 project in unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to amend a contract with KAI 360 Construction Services. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
yes,
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 34, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15904, repealing and superseding ordinance 15761 adopted June 10, 2021, making appropriations for the current expenses of the district in the general fund, the water backup fund, the reimbursement fund, the general insurance fund, the sanitary replacement fund, the improvement fund, the stormwater MCI funds, the emergency funds, and debt service funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023, amounting in the aggregate to $399,621,707. Pay interest falling due on bonds issued, the cost of support, operation, and maintenance of the district and its various sub-districts and emergencies, and shall adopt a 5-year strategic operating plan as required by the charter, which states the district's objectives for the succeeding 5 years, includes objective targets by which to measure the district's performance in meeting these objectives. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
yes,
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 35, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15905, repealing ordinance 15768 adopted September 27, 2022, and enacting a new ordinance in lieu thereof, adjusting the previously fixed taxes by determining the amount of taxes which shall be levied, assessed, and collected in the year 2022 on all taxable tangible property in the district within the corporate limits of the city of St. Louis and St. Louis County respectively, and in sub-districts within the corporate limits of St. Louis County as follows: Coldwater Creek Trunk Subdistrict, Graveway Creek Trunk Subdistrict, Maline Creek Trunk Subdistrict, Watkins Creek Trunk Subdistrict, subdistricts number 89, number 342, number 366, number 367, number 369, number 448, number 449, number 454, number 455, subdistrict number 1 of the River de Pere watershed, and subdistrict number 7 of the River de Pere watershed. And the Board of Trustees, in accordance with Charter Section 7.310, authorizes the Director of Finance to certify as to the amount of taxes. Is there a motion for introduction?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
yes,
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 36, the introduction and adoption of proposed ordinance number 15906, authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of wastewater system improvement and refunding revenue bonds, Series 2022B of the district, prescribing the form and details of said bonds, and authorizing certain actions and documents, and prescribing other matters relating thereto. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
yes,
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Do I hear an objection to the suspension of the rule? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
yes,
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 37, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15907, authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Raftellus Financial Consultants to provide rate modeling support services, rate proposal preparation, and expert testimony for anticipated future rate commission proceedings preparation of financial feasibility studies as needed for the issuance of district bonds. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Okay, items 38 through 56 are all to award insurance contracts for insurance coverage from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. If there are no objections, I'd like to read through each item and then we will just take one vote at the end. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we'll start with item 38, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15908, awarding a contract to FM Global Insurance Company for the district's property and boiler and machinery insurance coverage. Item 39, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15909, awarding a contract to FM Global Insurance Company for the district's excess flood and earth movement insurance coverage. Item 40 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15910, awarding a contract to Missouri Public Entity Risk Management, or MOPRM, for the district's combined liability insurance coverage. Item 41 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15911, awarding a contract to the Phoenix Insurance Company for the district's auto liability insurance program coverage. Item 42 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15912, awarding a contract to Ace American Insurance Company for the district's public official excess liability coverage. Item 43 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15913, awarding a contract to Princeton Excess and Surplus Lines for the district's excess umbrella liability insurance coverage, first layer. Item 44 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15914, awarding a contract to Gemini for the district's excess umbrella liability insurance, second layer coverage. Item 45 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15915, awarding a contract to Lexington for the district's excess umbrella liability, third layer coverage. Item 46 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15916, awarding a contract to Travelers Indemnity Company for the district's cyber liability insurance program coverage. Item 47 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15917, awarding a contract to AIG Specialty Insurance Company for the district's owner's pollution protective insurance program coverage. Item 48 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15918, awarding a contract to Markle American Insurance Company for the district's contractors equipment and marine insurance program coverage. Item 49 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15919, awarding a contract to Travelers Casualty and Surety Company of America for the district's commercial crime insurance coverage. Item 50 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15920, awarding a contract to Federal Insurance Company for the district's fiduciary liability insurance coverage, first layer. Item 51 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15921, awarding a contract to Travelers Casualty and Surety Company for the district's fiduciary liability insurance coverage, second layer. Item 52, excuse me, is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15922, awarding a contract to Midwest Employers Casualty Company for the district's excess workers' compensation insurance coverage. Item 53 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15923, awarding a contract to Iron Shore Specialty Insurance Company for the district's block main and overcharge line backup insurance coverage. Item 54 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15924, awarding a contract to Missouri Petroleum Storage Tank Fund for the district's underground storage tank insurance coverage. Sorry, I need a quick break. Item 55 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15925, authorizing the district to execute all documents necessary in order to procure flood insurance from the National Flood Insurance Program. Excuse me, for the building and contents at certain specified district locations. And item 56 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15926, awarding a contract to Iron Shore Specialty Insurance Company for the district's major facility pollution liability coverage. So for items 38 to 56, is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi? Mr. Wabi, are you there? All right, Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
All right, all those motions pass introduction.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 57 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15927, authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Armanino LLP to provide internal audit services for the district. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 58 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15928, authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Gilmore and Bell to serve as bond counsel for the district. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 59 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15929, authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Armstrong Teasdale to serve as bond disclosure counsel for the district. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
And item 60 is the introduction and adoption of proposed ordinance number 15930, repealing ordinance 15691, adopted May 13, 2021, and enacting a new ordinance in lieu thereof prescribing the salary of the secretary treasurer of the district. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Do I hear an objection to the suspension of the rule? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr.
With pleasure.
Nicholasison? Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Thank you. That takes us to resolutions. Item 61 is the adoption of Resolution 3746, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to James E. Roth for his 29 years of exemplary service to the district from June 8, 1992 to his retirement effective May 1st, 2022. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 62 is the adoption of Resolution 3747, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Rhonda Lynn Gidget Taylor for her 26 years of exemplary service to the district from March 4th, 1996 to her retirement effective May 1st, 2022. Your motion for adoption.
So moved.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 63, the adoption of Resolution 3748, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Martin Dackroden for his 23 years of exemplary service to the district from May 11th, 1998 to his retirement effective May 1st, 2022. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 64 is the adoption of Resolution 3749, recommending the Board of Trustees that a section of district, recommending to the Board of Trustees that a section of district real property located at or near 1625 Delridge Court, St. Louis, Missouri 63136 is no longer necessary or useful in district operations and therefore should be declared as surplus property. Your motion for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
And item 65, the adoption of Resolution 3750, a recommendation to the Board of Trustees that a section of district real property located at or near 1627 Delridge Court, St. Louis, Missouri 63136 is no longer necessary or useful in district operations and therefore should be declared as surplus property. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
All right, thank you all. We have no more business at this meeting to be brought before the board.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.